Great. As long as yeah, okay. So I wanted to ask you, of course, first about the difference between the console and the PC version. Of course, many people are saying that the difference might be just the graphics or how the animation are displayed or anything like that, because the PC hardware is now more advanced, yes, and the console has stopped at where it is. But I want to know more of the effect on the maps itself, the multiplayer. We know that we have less number of players in the console version. We have more on the PC version. We also hear that the maps will be modified so they can fit the, because some people complain that that having fewer number of players in a smaller map is not does not give them the same experience that they can have on the PC. So what's your comment on that?
I think in general we've been building Battlefield games for quite some time, and even in the earliest Battlefield games we had scalable areas on our map. So we had like 32, 16, 64 player environment. So we know exactly what it takes to make a great Battlefield experience. And for the PC, like you say, we will have 64 up to 64 players, which means that you will have more people fighting, and also in a bigger area. So we're going to open up the map slightly for the 64 player games. I don't think there will be a problem with the console, because we've seen with Battlefield Bad Company 2 that where we have 24 players, which is actually more than most other games have, especially with the destruction and the vehicles on top of that, you get a very intense fight. And I think increasing that for the PC would actually open up for more strategic gameplay for the PC audience. But I think the PC audience will also play on the smaller layouts of the map as well.
Okay. What about the squad system and the multiplayer? Is it going to come back from Battlefield, or are we going to see something like what we saw with Bad Company 2 on the consoles?
I can't really give you any detailed information of that right now, because we're still trying to not talk too much detail on the multiplayer. But like you say, we had squads in Battlefield 2 and we had squads in Bad Company 2, so I'm guessing that it will come back in one way or another for Battlefield 3.
Okay. What about recently in the interviews and your speech, you've been mentioning Call of Duty a lot, and some of your loyal players are concerned that the Battlefield experience will be modified, maybe to apply to more gamers, maybe gamers with less experience, or some of the casual gamers that've been going for the Call of Duty series for so long. Is that true? Are you going for a bigger audience, or will you stick to the Battlefield 3 formula from before, and something that the original fans will love?
I think, first of all, we're not trying to copy anyone else. We don't want to build something that is not Battlefield. Our goal is to build the best Battlefield game that we have built so far. Battlefield has always been a game that has been very accessible. Even Battlefield 1942 and Battlefield 2 was actually easy to pick up and play, but the audience was more narrow back then for different reasons. We're not trying to make the game simpler or dumb it down, so we remove the depth of the game. Battlefield 3 will probably be the deepest and more complex Battlefield game we've seen so far, but that doesn't mean that we don't want people to be able to get into the game easy, because there's no controversy in having a deep and accessible game. So of course I want people to be able to play the game, and I want people to drive a tank and fly a plane. We don't want to create a simulation that is not fun. We want to create a fun game that everyone can enjoy, and then find the depth and get better and better and better at it, and unlock stuff and have fun for many hours.
Okay, but what do you really like about the series? What do you think the thing that makes Battlefield really unique and a different experience than any other game?
I think honestly, what Battlefield has that we haven't seen in many other games is the balance between infantry and vehicles in the same environment, where it always feels like you can counter what the opponent is doing, no matter what weapon, no matter what vehicle that person has. There's also the element of teamwork that we can't really see in any other games, where you actually could support your team rather than run around and shoot stuff. You can actually win a round, be on the top of the charts by just helping your team without shooting a single bullet, which is also very unique for a first-person shooter, because you're not shooting, you're just helping. And then, of course, you have the element of destruction, which is still very, very unique in first-person shooter. But for us, it's a very natural element of the environment.
Okay, these days, and even after seeing the Call of the Battlefield demo, it would be really, really cool if we can have a co-op mode, even split screen or online. So is there any plans for that?
Yes, we are building a co-op mode for Battlefield 3, yes. Oh, okay. But I can't give you any details on it, but you will get a co-op mode. Maybe. I can't tell you.
Okay, last question about the story in the game. Lately we've seen that first-person shooter games are trying to give the story a bigger role in the game, to make you more related to the characters in game, to try to even give you a story that is not the usual thing that we see in war games, and even either modern or classic wars. So what do you think the story will play in Battlefield 3 this time?
The story is, of course, very important for the single-player narrative, and we want to make good use of the toolbox we have in multiplayer, where you have the vehicles and we have the destruction and all the variation that you can get from a Battlefield gameplay. So, as you've seen in the demo we released, there is a lot of variation, even within a small area, when it comes to the scale of the map or the weapons you're using, and also the impact of destruction when we use it right. So I think story is very important for the single player mode, but since it's a Battlefield game, of course, multiplayer is as important, or maybe even more important. So it's not that we're taking away our focus from multiplayer, we're just having a bigger team. So
thank you very much for giving us your time.
Thank you very much.